Can I have a Pepsi? The school want you Pepsi? Yeah, like just have a Pepsi.
There's no evidence of it. There is evidence of it. Whatever it is, put it in its mental condition.
And then I went ahead and did what I did.
What did you do?
The horribleness in what I did to her.
It's not insanity. We found him guilty of the worst thing we can find him guilty of, and everybody seems to feel that he was too ill to be responsible.
Not a lot is known about Monika Beerle. She lived a bit on the outskirts of society, but had a past that wouldn't have predicted that. There is a place in Manhattan known as Alphabet City, which got its name from the avenues surrounding it called Avenue A, B, C, etc. Alphabet City is on the Lower East Side of the city, and although originally just a salt marsh, then it became a shipyard, and then at one time was one of the wealthiest parts of Manhattan. But by the 1970s, not so much. The area was considered one of the least desirable places to live, filled with low-rent, run-down houses converted to shabby apartments, and Tompkins Park Square in the center of the community was overrun with homeless tent cities and crime. Gentrification in the area in 1988, with the influx of artists wanting to move to that area, sparked the Tompkins Square riots when they proposed curfews, something the unhoused aren't really about. And in the area lived 4 people that were all about to come together by chance and unfortunate circumstances. There was 20-something Sylvia and Sean of no fixed last names, living in a 2-bedroom apartment at 700 East 9th Street. Sylvia and Sean frequented Tompkins Park, occasionally looking to buy pot, and one day in June 1989 purchased from an unusual young man named Daniel Rakowitz. And having an extra bedroom, they'd befriended this strange but gregarious homeless fellow, and he said between his part-time dishwashing job and the pot dealing, he could afford to pay half of their rent, and this was just fine by Sylvia and Sean, who were having trouble making ends meet as it was, and on July 7th, carrying his 3 cats and a rooster named Rooster, he moved in with them. Daniel was born in 1960 in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. His dad had been a criminal investigator for the U.S. Army, and the family settled in Rockport, Texas. But Daniel had some mental health issues that became more and more evident as he grew into a young adult. He moved to New York in 1985 on his own and became well known in Tompkins Square for his eccentric views and teachings of the Church 966 that he planned on starting. And once settled into the apartment with his roomies, he found his love for TV, which he would watch for hours and hours, and cooking. And what he would do is head down to the Key Foods on 4th and B and just hang around the front doors asking for donations. But not donations of money. Once washed up, the bearded and long-haired Daniel and his endearing Texas drawl was able to use his outgoing and friendly personality to get people to bring him donations of food, like butter, bread, chicken, potatoes, etc. And he would bring it all back to the apartment and in their tiny and cramped kitchen, cook up huge batches of soups and stews and take it to the homeless in Tompkins Park to feed them. He understood what it was like to be homeless, and he wanted them to have a hot meal. And he would do this about 2 or 3 times a week. But shortly after he moved in, Sylvia and Sean started having some relationship issues and decided to break up. Both Sylvia and Sean's names were on the lease, and Sean was moving out and was taking his name off of the lease. Sylvia decided that she'd had enough of Manhattan and wanted to move back to New Jersey, where she had been originally from, and she was going to be turning the lease over to Daniel, which would mean a rise in the rent for him. Only Daniel was reluctant to have his name on any paperwork. And while Sylvia was concerned that her landlord was going to take one look at Daniel, his spotty work history and tendency to ramble on about his strange religious beliefs, and that was going to mean that she wasn't going to be able to get out of the lease. So both of them hunted for a roommate for him to be the one to take over the lease. Enter Monika Beerle. Monika was originally from St. Gallen, Switzerland, and had studied dance at the Sigurd Leader School of Dance and had moved to New York to study at the Martha Graham School when she was 26. And having been living at 93 Orchard Street Avenue B, she earned money by dancing at a topless bar and was also drawn to the street life and, as one person said, dated adventurously, which to me doesn't mean promiscuous. To me that means she didn't really have a type. She liked guys from different cultures and different walks of life and just sort of dabbled. So when she met Daniel one day in the park, probably feeding the homeless with his trademark Bible in hand, going on about him being the Lord of Lords and his delusions of grandeur and his drifter homeless appearance, she didn't judge him. She just found him to be intriguing. And when he discovered that she was looking to move, he pitched an arrangement where she could be on the lease and he would pay half of the rent, which sounded like a pretty good deal to her. So she went back to his place to check it out, and they shared a joint to confirm their new contract. So Monica saw Daniel as just kind of a pit stop on her adventure of dating. So she didn't really consider Daniel as even someone she was regularly dating, just her roommate. Daniel, on the other hand, was rather infatuated with the young, pretty dancer. But right away, Monica started to realize that Daniel was a little bit off. He babbled on about his weird religious beliefs and had a very deep dislike for blacks and gays, which were views the streetwise and urban forward thinking Monica didn't share. And on the advice of friends, she asked Daniel to leave. After all, she was on the lease now, not him. Sylvia had left a few belongings there and said that she would get them after she was settled wherever she landed. So after Monica moved in, he talked often about his disappointment with Monica and complained that she had brought a black man into the apartment, and he waffled between saying he wanted to kill her and that he loved her. So on the evening of August 17th, 1989, Daniel walked Sylvia to the train station after she had been over for a visit, and he told her that he just couldn't take it anymore with Monica, that he was not moving out and he was going to kill her. In fact, on that evening, Sylvia says that he asked her to come back to the apartment the next night and help her move the body after he'd done it. And she brushed it off and said, "You're crazy, I'm not doing that." And she just left it like that. She did not return to the apartment the next night, but she did come by on the night after that, which was on the Saturday. And this is where the story takes an unimaginable turn. She comes up the stairs to the apartment and can hear the TV on very loudly. This is normally not a good sign when someone says they're going to murder someone, especially when she opens the door and finds Daniel nowhere around but the TV blaring. But rather than just be really concerned about Monica, she heads straight to her old room to check on her stuff that she's left behind to make sure that nobody has touched it. And as an afterthought, she knocked on the door to Monica's room, but no one answered. And she didn't answer because when she went into the kitchen to investigate something making a bubbling noise, and there on the stove was a pot, and in the pot was Monica's head. Now, you and I would probably scream holy bloody murder and run gagging and developing PTSD with every step out of the apartment and write to a phone to call 911. But not Sylvia. She instead went to the bathroom. Quote, "I walked to the very tip of the bathroom. I didn't go in, and I saw in the bathtub what was like a rib cage with everything off. Just the bones, just the ribs. And it was full of blood, and there was like guts. So I left. And I couldn't even lock the door. I was shaking so bad, but I locked the door because I thought, Jesus, if anybody sees this." Instead of calling the police, she called Daniel, who of course had a beeper. What good pot dealer didn't? And she says, "You did it?" And he apologized and said that he was sorry that she had to see that, but he had to do it. And so Sylvia arranged to meet him in Tompkins Park to discuss the matter. Now, I am going to play Daniel's police interview in which he's rather forthcoming in what exactly he did to Monica. But first I want to detail the investigation into her death, or rather the lack thereof. A few days later, Sylvia ran into him at the park again, and he told her that it was starting to smell in the apartment. And so she told him, quote, "Daniel, they're going to find out, and they're going to lock you up, and they're going to put you in a psychiatric hospital. And I don't want to see that happen to you. I think you've had enough." And he assured her that he was going to get it all cleaned up nice and good, and then she could come and visit him again. And she said, "Well, when it's clean, let me know." Sylvia told the Village Voice, quote, "I told Daniel that I would never tell on him, and I never went forward and said anything, and a lot of people are going to think it's a very shitty thing for me to do. Maybe if they understand anything that I have said and really take it to heart, and maybe if they realize what kind of person Daniel was and what he wasn't, because of what was done to him, they might understand why I didn't want to say anything, because I didn't want to hurt him anymore. People say, well, he could go out and do it again, but I stayed up there a few times. I slept in that apartment with Daniel. He was in the other room. after he'd killed her. And the detectives know this. Everything I'm telling you is what they know, and I told them exactly what I'm telling you. And the reason why is that Daniel has been in a prison most of his life in his own mind. And you're not trying to help him by locking him behind bars. If you want to help this man, you get him some real psychiatric and psychological help." End quote. On August 22nd, Sean came by to buy some weed from Daniel. He was unaware of anything having gone down, so he just casually came in and told Daniel that him and Sylvia, who had gotten back together, had gotten into a fight and he had broken her nose. He noticed Daniel was frying something up in the kitchen, and Daniel tells him that he ate human meat, as in Monica. Not all of her, but he ate some, and that he was going to use the rest to feed the homeless. 4 days later, Sylvia finally spilled the beans to Sean, whom I assume she had forgiven for breaking her nose, and Sean went back to Daniel's and saw that Daniel had been cleaning and says to him, "You know, it still smells like death in here." To which Daniel says, "Really? Can you smell it? Can you tell?" Sean told the Village Voice, quote, "He left the apartment to move in with another girl uptown. And after I heard that, I thought he killed her for nothing. That Monica just died for no reason at all. I mean, she died for a reason in the beginning, and there's no right reason for anyone to die, but then he moved out and everything was gone out of the apartment. All we saw was Monica's stuff lying all over." So Sean told the story to the building superintendent, and the superintendent hightailed it to the police like a normal person. Whether he believed the crazy story or not, he figured he'd let the police sort it out, which is what I would think I would do. However, this was well over 2 weeks later, and the cops did come out and check out the apartment, but there had been no sign that any kind of murder had happened, especially of the gruesome sort described to them. But they went through the motions and took Sean's statement and asked Daniel to come down to the station to talk. Now, before I play Daniel's statement, which I will warn you gets pretty graphic in parts, let me just tell you the ending of this horrible story. On February 22nd, 1991, he was found not guilty by reason of insanity and sent to the Kirby Forensic Psychiatric Center on Ward's Island. When asked if he had anything to say about the sentence, he said, "I won't fault you for your verdict. The prosecution had an overwhelming case against me, but I'll be getting out soon and I'll send a lot of marijuana so I can bring to justice the people who actually committed this crime." In 2004, he applied for release, and at that time it was discovered that he had been married before, and his ex-wife came forward to discuss her relationship with Daniel, which started when she was only 14. Daniel, who was a pathological liar but also psychotic, had bragged to her about beheading a dog and killing a sex worker, both which very well could have been lies. But the ex-wife also told the treating psychiatrist that while they had been married, he would chain her to the refrigerator when he left the house. There was also testimony that while in the ward, he hoarded newspapers and would only give them to patients that he considered worthy of reading the news. In June 2010, he tried to be transferred to a less secure facility and was denied, and that was the last I was able to find on him. Now let's hear what Daniel has to say for himself.
Test 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Can I have a Pepsi? The school want you Pepsi? Yeah, like just have a Pepsi.
Okay.
God, I could have actually saved her life that Saturday. Didn't they just one hit to her throat could kill somebody?
Yeah.
She was like raising up her knife, and I said, shit, you know. Hit her one time in the throat.
Let me just stop you for a second, okay, to introduce myself, all right? My name is Deborah Gill, and I'm an assistant DA here in Manhattan. This is Carolyn Streicher. She's also an assistant district attorney, okay? And you've already met Detective Abernathy, haven't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and he's standing up in the back of the room, right?
Right.
Okay. Before I go any further, you know that this is being videotaped, right?
Right.
And you have no objection to that?
No.
Okay. It's about 11:10 in the evening, and it's September 18th. Is that right? And I just want to tell you that we're going to ask you a couple of questions about the death of Monika Beerle, which occurred on August 19th at 700 East 9th Street, apartment 7.
Right.
And before going any further, I want to advise you of your rights. You had the right to remain silent and to refuse to answer questions. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. And anything that you say can be used against you in court. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You have the right to consult a lawyer now before any questioning, or to have a lawyer present during any questioning. Do you understand? Okay, and if you don't have a lawyer or can't afford one, a lawyer will be provided for you now free of charge before any questioning. Do you understand? Okay, could you just answer yes or no?
Yes.
And, now that you've been advised of your rights, are you willing to tell me the truth now about what happened without having a lawyer? Okay. Now, you've been read these rights before, haven't you? I mean, Detective Avenatti told you you had these rights, didn't he?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you understood them when he
Right.
told them to you. All right. Why don't you just tell me in your own words what happened to Monika?
I don't know, she started off being so nice, and then all of a sudden she started like flipping out.
When did you first meet her?
I met her like on a Tuesday.
Was that in August sometime?
Yeah, I think it's August the 4th or something. It's on Tuesday in August, like the first Tuesday in August.
And how did you come to meet her?
And I was walking on the street and seen her. And she passed me by, and I was talking to some other people at the time, so I ran after her to be able to speak to her, because I thought she was cute and all this. And so then I smoked a joint with her. And, well, she seemed all cool, and I was telling her about my apartment, if she knew anybody that wanted to move in. She said possibly she did. So I took her there right then. She saw it. And, you know, she was all nice, totally nice with me.
And where was it that you first met her then? Where was this on the street?
Like 20th Street and 2nd Avenue.
And was it in the, what time of day was it? Do you remember?
It's like maybe about 5 or 6 o'clock.
In the evening?
Right,
And you went to your apartment, that's at 700 East 9th Street?
right.
How long have you lived there?
I was living there since like July the 6th.
Okay. Where did you live before that?
Before that, I was living like in, I was like homeless, actually.
Here in New York?
Yeah,
You're not from New York originally, are you?
from Texas.
How long have you been living here in the city?
For 5.5 years.
Anyway, why don't you go on and tell us what happened after you took Monika back to your apartment when you first met her?
Well, we smoked some more pot, and we ended up, you know, having sex. And that's about it. And then she left.
Did you make any plans to see her again? Or anything
Yeah,
like
so
that?
the next day, she came over again. We had more sex. And then I didn't see her Thursday. And then Friday, took over to her to the real estate office. And we arranged to have the lease made in her name so she could pay the black rent so that I could really just stay there. And we had an agreement that I could even stay the month of August free and paid like $302.50 starting September 1st.
How big an apartment is it?
Like 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room, and a bathroom.
Anyone else live there?
Yeah, like Sylvia and Ed were living there too.
In a separate room or
Well, there's like come over there and staying there every once in a while.
paying any rent there?
No, they didn't pay rent before that. That's why I had the back rent paid. They agreed I could do this, and so then I had that done.
Do you know whether Monika worked or how she made her money?
Yeah, she was like a go-go dancer, striptease actually.
Do you know where she did that?
I think 35th Street or something like that, someplace.
Did you ever see her when she was working?
No,
You never went to where she worked?
no, because whenever she moved in, it's like total hell that started breaking loose at that point.
What happened?
I mean, like, she moved in on a Friday. Friday she done the lease, and right after we'd done it, she says, I don't think that's fair that you're going to live rent-free for the month of August. And I said, well, you know, you agreed to that. She says, well, okay, you know, that's true. I did agree. Just be sure you pay me by September 1st. Sunday, I had a friend move all her stuff in, and I helped her move in also. You know, I even had a broken hand at the time that was still hurting. And I helped her move in and all this. I went out to go get pizza supplies because I was going to make a good pizza, which I did that night. And then I discovered that my cat was missing. We had a discussion earlier how her and my cat, I told her how this cat here would give your cat problems. And of all things, I came back and found out my cat had been killed by a pit bull in the hallway. she had put it outside and it got killed by a pit bull.
Why did that happen?
Because she wanted to make room for her cat. It happened this very same day she moved in. It's just like, oh, this is my apartment now. I can do as I want to.
And do you know what date that was?
That was maybe like this is the first Sunday in August.
And you said, oh, okay, so she moved in on a Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what happened when you came home and found your cat out in the hallway?
Well, I was hearing from all the neighbors how my cat had gotten killed by a pit bull in the hallway, you know? And it's like, I really did love my cat. It was like the last one that survived from a fire where all the other kitties had died. So
did you suspect Monika had something to do with it?
yeah, she was even laughing at me about it, you know?
What did she say?
She says, well, at least now that cat won't give my cat problems. And it's all smirky, you know? And this is after she already ate a half a pizza, you know, just like laughing at me then over my dead cat. And there's always something else. But
What else happened?
that's about it. And just like in the course of the next 2 weeks, she was just like totally making threats against me every day. Said she was going to bring her friends to kick me out and all this. Said she found somebody that'll pay rent for the month of August, whereas I always wanted to live rent-free for the month of August. And anyway, then she finally just says, well, as long as you pay me before the 15th for the month of September, that'd be okay. So I paid her $270 prior to the 15th of August. And then like the day after the 15th, she says, well, you know that you still owe me $30 for the month of August. And I said, what? That's for the month of September. And she says, no, that's for the month of August, because I decided now that you have to pay rent for the month of August too. You're going to have to, you know, bring up some more money for the month of September. And I was like, oh, wow, you know, you can't just go against an agreement like that.
When did you have this conversation? When did you change your mind?
She changed her mind like on the 16th
Of August?
Of August. And then I was like, no way you're going to do this to me, you know? And then like she started then threatening to bring this guy over with a pit bull and all that. And in the meantime, she was always just like making threats to me. She was making threats to me even prior to 16th, before I even paid her that amount of money. I mean, I'd only paid her like $100, you know, like around the 10th even, where she was already making threats against me, you know, saying that, oh, I can kick your ass because you got a broken hand anyway, and all this stuff. So, wow, I didn't want no confrontation. And even on the Friday night, I ended up having like a drag out with her then, which she scratched my arms. I threw her backward and all this.
And this was Friday night, when, the 18th?
The 18th, yeah. And
Was she around very much? I mean, in the apartment? Did you spend much time there together?
no, I just like wanted to hang out in my room at that point because I didn't really want too much to do with her because she was just like totally erratic behavior. It seemed like I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but she'd like be worked up in a frenzy, like because maybe she was like a crackhead. And here I'd smoke my pot, you know, and she was like totally wanting to be violent with me. She had raised my sword against me. She had raised a piece of steel against me. And then Saturday morning, she actually came after me with a knife. And as she raised the knife to stab me with it, I punched her one time to send her back. And I hit her in the throat. And then she just fell down and started to gurgle and stuff like that. And then I saw that she was spitting out like some, you know, like a hot or a sputum or whatever. And then she wasn't moving no more after that. She
So
just
she came
totally
with a knife on
motionless.
Saturday?
Yeah. I mean, she actually busted through my door Friday night. And I actually had to barricade my door. And
How did she do that?
how'd she do that?
How did she bust through your door?
Well, it just had a little small flimsy latch on there. You know, this was 2 little screws, it's like about that long. And she just like, you know, we had all this fight. I threw her backward. She was yelling at me from behind my door for like 5 minutes. I was just smoking a joint and just like trying to not listen to what she was saying to me. And then all of a sudden, there she comes into my room. So, you know, I tell her, hey, you better get the hell out of my room, or else I'm gonna hit you. And
Did you hit her?
I threatened to hit her, and she did get out of the room.
Did you push her
She
out?
saw that I didn't even have to deal with her at that point. She just says, well, I'm gonna get you tomorrow, you know? And then tomorrow, you know, as far as I was expecting that she was gonna bring other people, which she had originally said with the pit bull, she was just like wanting to intimidate me, I guess, before she went out, I guess by threatening me with the knife. So I figured, wow, I mean, she's raised a knife to me, I'm gonna hit her now.
This was on Saturday morning?
Saturday morning, like 10 o'clock. So I punched her one time in the throat. And it's just like, I couldn't believe that.
Well, what was the fight about on Saturday morning?
Saturday morning is because she was just like trying to intimidate me, I guess, to get me out of there. I don't think she really would have stabbed me, but I just hit her because I was pretty angry at that point. I was like even thinking the whole night how she'd killed my cat, how through my kindness I moved her out of this small little room just to have a bigger room, you know, and to take over an apartment's lease, which she could have sold that lease, which she was advised even before she took it over. And then like all of a sudden it's just like she totally wanted to turn against me. She turned from being like a friend to somebody I really did hate. And then whenever she came at me with that knife, it was just like I had so much hate in my body against her. And I just hit her one time, you know, very hard. I mean, I did hit her really hard because I was really angry at that point.
And you've been angry for a long time, hadn't you?
Yeah, she was getting me angrier, and angrier every day.
Did you ever threaten her before?
No, I just told her, hey, if you ever mess with me, I'll get back at you. But all I had in store for her was that if she got me out there legally, I was going to be over there with like a bucket of shit and piss. And I was going to dump it on her. That's all I had planned for her. I was going to hang out outside till she came out. I was going to dump a bucket of shit and piss on her. But then I hit her that one time.
Excuse me.
No, that's me.
Business calls?
Marijuana deliveries. There isn't a way I could possibly make a telephone call and say I couldn't make no more deliveries, is it?
Not right now.
Can you just turn it off for now?
Let me just see if this call is, because if I can really write it down. All right, it's cool for now.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just like, I couldn't believe the whole scene there.
Can you just turn it off for now?
Okay, let's see if there's any other numbers. You have a piece of paper?
Yeah, just send it to me, Bruce.
Let's see, you have a piece?
I'll write you something right here.
All right. Well, if I could write down the number, I'd appreciate it better. It's Vince.
Yeah. Just shut the beeper off now.
Okay, it's shut off now.
Thank you.
Well, tell me how angry you were that Saturday morning.
Yeah, I was like totally angered from the night before, you know?
And you stayed up all night thinking about it?
No, I just went to sleep and I barricaded my door, you know, in case she came with the guy earlier or whatever. And then Saturday morning, I just went ahead and was watching cartoons, smoking pot. And like she came in there with a knife coming toward me, and it's just like, wow, you know? I was overwhelmed with like, what the hell is this lady up to now?
What did she do with
Coming
it?
there to threaten me. Oh, she just like had it in her hand,
What kind of knife was it?
you know? It was just like a little kitchen knife. I mean, a little knife. And
Like a little steak knife or something?
yeah, a little steak knife. And so I seen her in her hand, she was raising it.
What did she say?
And she just says, I can kill you, or something like that. You know, I'll show you not to mess with me. She said something like that. But I was mostly looking at the knife and just thinking, wow, she's raising a knife against me. So she was like raising her knife. I went ahead and just punched her.
Where'd you punch her?
Right in the throat.
You punch her hard?
Yeah.
As hard as you ever punched anybody before?
Yeah, well, one time I had a fight with like 19 guys, and then I was punching pretty well too. But that was something else. Yeah, she went ahead and, took a serious punch from me. I hit her very hard because I just had like all this anger and like, oh, you got a knife against me? Yeah. So I just hit her one time.
Did you get up to do it?
Yeah, I had to get up from my chair, and I got up real fast because she was coming at me with a knife. So
How far away from you was she?
she came through my door. Maybe she was like 5 feet away from me when I actually noticed that she had a knife in her hand, saying, "I'm gonna get you too," or something like that.
Did you ever tell anybody? Did you ever tell the detective that Nancy earlier today that she had a knife? Remember when you talked to him?
Yeah.
Yeah. You sure about that?
Yes.
Sure, this isn't the first time you're saying.
No, I said that to you earlier about the knife.
But you knew you could defend yourself pretty well, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't have a chance against you, did she?
I mean, well, she had a knife, and I just wanted to defend myself, that's all. And I didn't think that would do anything to her.
You didn't think punching her as hard as you could in the throat would do anything to her?
I was just like, I was mad at her, and I just didn't want to get cut. And I just want to let her know, hey, don't mess around coming at me with no knife.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get me out of here, get me out of here legally. That's even what I told her Friday night. And she tore up this little anti-displacement unit paper,
Did you ever punch anyone in the throat before?
No.
What happened when you did it?
What happened? Well, she just fell down. And then she just started making gurgling sounds.
How did she fall down?
She just...
Fell on her back?
Yeah, she fell down right on her back.
And what did you do then?
Just started gurgling, and then her arms just went to her side, and she was just like that.
And what did you do then?
Then I was just like, wow. And I was just like, I was waiting for her to get up because I didn't think I'd done nothing to her. Really, I was just like thinking, she's just faking it,
As hard as you hit her, you didn't
Yeah, and I was thinking, well, I don't know why the hell she's faking it. And then I went ahead and lit up my joint again, smoked the rest of my joint, waiting for her to get back up, thinking that she was just faking on me. And I was thinking, why the hell would she be faking on me like this?
Why would she be?
I didn't know. And
How long did it take you to smoke the rest of your joint?
like maybe 5 minutes.
And she was lying on the floor gurgling the whole time?
Yeah.
Still making noises?
No, she totally wasn't making no more noises.
Wasn't moving?
Wasn't moving.
You still thought she was faking on you?
Yeah. I still was thinking she was faking on me until finally I got up and I touched her. And she wasn't responding at all to the touching.
Where'd you touch her?
I just grabbed a hold of her shoulder and said, "Hey, Monica, why are you doing this?
Her eyes?
Get up." Yeah, her eyes was open.
Was she breathing?
No, because then I even lit a match and I put it in front of her nose. And no, the match wasn't moving.
Did you feel her pulse?
No.
Did you feel her heartbeat at all?
Yeah, I felt her heartbeat. And I figured, well, her eyes are open. Maybe she's not even, maybe she's holding her breath. But I wasn't seeing her stomach moving at all though. And I was thinking maybe she's holding her breath because I touched her heart. And her heart was still beating.
So she was alive, right?
Yeah. So her heart was still beating. And so I figured, wow, this is really tripped out. I don't know why you're faking this. And I was even telling her that. I don't know why you're faking being like this. And she just did not get up again. And so I was really tripped out.
What did she do after you realized that her heart was still beating but she wasn't moving?
I didn't realize that anything was really wrong. I just figured, well, I was really thinking she was faking it. I was thinking she was just breathing where I couldn't see it. And her heart was still beating all this time. Oh, if I had to do it over again, I would have dialed 911 and called an ambulance. But I didn't realize that she was not faking it. I didn't think that I could do anything like that. I didn't think somebody could hit a person in the throat and just making them totally dead after a while. I mean, her heart was still beating,
Well, you hit her really hard, didn't you?
Yeah, I hit her hard because she was coming at me with a knife. But I didn't realize that if you hit a person in the throat, that would do anything, really.
You didn't realize it might cut off their air supply?
No, I just figured by hitting her in the throat that she just like would not leave, she'd leave me alone.
How long was she lying there with her, heart beating?
Oh man, for like 45 minutes.
And what did you do? Did you smoke another joint?
I did smoke another joint. I actually thought that she was faking it all this time, that there was nothing wrong with her, because her heart was beating. You know, she was still must have been getting air for her heart to be beating, right?
Have you ever had any fights with her before?
No, it's not where I, hit her or nothing. She had scratched me the night before, in which I threw her on her butt, and she fell backward and all this. And then she was like coming at me again. I slammed the door in her face. And then like she went through my door later. And then I said, hey, if you come in here, I'm going to hit the hell out of you.
You said that to her
Yeah.
Friday night?
Yeah, Friday night. And she says, well, I'll get you tomorrow then. And she was telling me how earlier Friday she was going to bring in the guy with the pit bull. And so I was like, well, said, bring him in, I'll kill his dog. That's what I said.
So for all those 45 minutes you were sitting there watching her while she was on the floor?
I was watching cartoons and smoking a joint and just thinking that, wow, she's faking this because she's still breathing. I mean, I'm still breathing.
What happened after
I figured she was faking the breathing. After the 45 minutes, then wow. See, I actually even left out. I went to make a pot delivery of all things at Tompkins Square Park. And I came back about 2 hours later, and she was still lying there.
She was still breathing?
No, then I touched her and she was cold.
That's when you realized she was dead?
That's when I realized she was dead.
What did you do then?
Then I was very fearful. And then I went ahead and did what I did.
What did you do?
The horribleness in which what I did to her. I dissected her body totally.
Why don't you tell me how you did that?
I just started chopping her up, cooking her meat.
How did you chop her up?
With a butcher knife and the aid of a saw.
What kind of saw did you use?
Just a wood saw.
Where did you get the saw?
From a hardware store.
So you went out and bought a saw?
That day I went out and bought a saw.
Now what time are we talking about now?
This is about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
That you went out to buy the saw?
Yeah, because I realized, wow, I'm going to be going to prison now for murder,
And when did you return from Tompkins Square Park?
When I returned there, about 1 o'clock, I'd say. Yeah, about 1 o'clock, I'd say.
And that's when you say you realized she was
Yeah,
dead?
then I came back and she was cold.
So from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, what did you do? From 1 o'clock
I was just smoking a lot more pot and just was thinking, what can I do? What can I do?
And what was the solution?
I was thinking, if I tell the police, I'm going to go to prison for, murder, and I didn't even murder her. It was an accident.
So what did you decide to do?
And then I said, well, I'm going to do what all my friends advised me to do, what they do in matters such as this. And so,
What friends are these?
friends that tell me about them having done things like this. It's told me how they've done things like this, and I've done exactly their procedures.
Have you ever done it before?
No.
They just told you about it?
Yeah. Because they're
So,
involved into a special religion that they do a lot of weird things like that.
so you thought to yourself, how can I get rid of this body?
Yeah.
And what was the solution you came up with?
To do what I did, dissection.
So, is that when you decided to go out and buy a saw?
Yes.
What did you do first? When you decided that's what you were going to do?
Smoked a lot more pot. smoked up like a quarter-ounce of pot, you know, during that day or something. I was just like totally flipping out. I didn't know what to do.
Right, but at some point you came to a decision, right?
Yeah.
About what to do to get rid of this evidence.
Yeah.
And what's the first thing you did once you came to that decision?
Well, I went and bought me a plastic tarp, put it in the bathtub, and I carried her to the bathtub, put her in there, and then started chopping her up in the bathtub.
Why did you get the tarp?
Why? So that there would not be no blood in the bathtub.
And you did it in the bathtub as opposed to on the floor?
Yes, because I knew blood would most likely run. Because I've skinned many of the animals in the past. Deer, hogs, and even one cow.
And so after you put her in the bathtub on top of the tarp, what did you do?
Well, the first thing I did, I let out the blood from the neck. I had lifted her legs up above the bathtub so that all the blood would drain down, and so that it would flow downward, so I could get all the blood out of her body, which did work.
How long did that take?
That took maybe about an hour or so. Just because the blood was like, it didn't squirt out whenever I cut it. It didn't even come out right then.
Where did you cut her in order to drain the blood out?
Right here.
On the left side of her neck?
Yeah.
How did you know to do that?
I don't know. I just thought that was the thing to do.
And what did you do next?
Because I heard from people before that, you know, like here and here, there's like main arteries. So either which side, it's going to drain your body, the blood.
After that, what did you do?
That's about it. I didn't
After you drained the
cooked her
blood?
all up. Cooked her all up.
So how did you cut her body in some way?
I totally cut her body up in a lot of different pieces.
So what did you use to do that?
The butcher knife and a saw.
The saw that you had bought at the hardware store?
Right.
And what exactly did you use the saw for?
To, like, the saw was only specifically used basically for the bones and cutting off the head.
And you knew you need something sturdier than a knife to do that?
But I realized then after doing it, that the best way to do it was like to take off one limb at a time with the butcher knife, because I could cut around the ligaments and bones better. And then the saw, I knew I was just going to have to use that to recut the bones later. In which that saw didn't even work with all the bones. I had to use an additional hacksaw, which already had the storage.
When did you cut her head off?
Right away. It was like the first thing that went, and the hands and the feet were next, which I boiled them up right away.
How long did all this take?
Total, doing everything was about 10 days.
About 10 days?
Yeah, in which I was having to deal with very rotted flesh, with maggots. I even cut myself in the process. My fingers swelled up to twice its size. And cut myself right here. And my fingers swelled up to like twice its size and still is discolored.
Didn't anybody come in or out of the apartment during those 10 days?
Yeah, Sylvia and Ed.
And how'd you hide it from them?
Betty was like saying, oh, good, the bitch is dead. And then Sylvia started going through a lot of her stuff and saying, I want this and that. And I said, well, I don't care. You know? So
They were there during the 10 days, you mean?
yeah, and they was even laughing about it. They really thought it was really good because they didn't like her to begin with.
They didn't like her any more than you did, right?
No, it was just like, she just was totally messed up. I mean, I moved her in there in a lot of ways. It's like, she killed my cat, you know? And then she was just like totally disrupting my whole life and yelling at me all the time. I'd even bring over friends and she'd be yelling at me. You know, and like in front of my friends for no reason, calling me a bum and all this. Whenever I'd already paid her for September's rent, but she was saying that I stole her for the August rent.
So So when did you first start to not get along with her? I mean, I thought you got along with her great at the beginning.
Friday, the day she signed the lease. That's whenever she first started saying that she was going to kick me out if I didn't give her like 400.
So she wouldn't have anything else to do with you, is that right?
Yeah, it was just like, she was totally cold, but a day after the cat thing,
Yeah.
I had a chance to have sex with her though. And I was thinking about it, even though my cat had been dead the day before, I shouldn't have had nothing to do with her for that. But I was going to give into it anyway, but on examination of her vagina, I'm seeing these little brown sores that told me I didn't want no more to do with Monika. And then I said, I forgot I got to pick up some pot for later marijuana delivery. So at that point, I left.
At that point, you decided you weren't going to have anything else to do with her.
Yes.
So it didn't bother you that she was being cold to you?
No, at that point, it's just like, oh, I don't care what she's about as long as I can stay here. And I didn't think that she could, kick me out legally. That's why I even went to the anti-displacement unit and was seeking their help. I was going to do all sorts of work Monday in that area, trying to stay in the apartment. But instead on that Saturday, she lifted up my sword to me before. She lifted up a steel rod to me before, threatening to hit me and all this.
She never hurt you before, did she?
No, she never hit me before.
She never got near you, did she?
Friday night, though, she tried to kick at me, and I caught a hold of her foot. She tried to kick me here. Caught a hold of her foot. And then all of a sudden, as I'm holding her foot, she just reaches out, trying to hit me in the face, and I get back. And then she just grabbed a hold of my arms, trying to make me release her foot. And at which point she dug in, and I got a scar here, and a scar here now.
But you can defend yourself pretty well, can you?
I didn't know. I know I did against a gang of 19 people once.
How long ago was that?
I was able to survive May the 20th last year, 42nd Street, 7th Avenue, in which even Officer Kidd came and saw how bloody I was. He's of the 9th Precinct now. And he saw how bloodied I was, from that whole fight. But they was trying to kill me, and they were not able to kill me. I was able to stab and slice approximately I don't know, maybe about 5 or 6 people.
You got a knife with you, and that's how you defended
A
yourself?
Budweiser beer can, I ripped in half at 16 ounce. I just wanted to live, that's all. I don't believe in somebody wanting to kill me, that's it. And Monika being a woman, that's no exception. Somebody try to kill me, yes, I'll defend myself. I believe if somebody raises a knife or something like that to me, I have every right in the world to hit that person, to defend myself. But I just didn't realize that one punch could do that.
Yeah, you told us how you believe she was faking it that whole time.
I thought she was just faking it.
Ever seen anybody do that before?
No, and I was repeatedly holding a match up to her, to see if there's any air coming out. And sometimes I'd even get really close, and it was I was this far away at times. I didn't want to burn her,
How did you know
I
that?
probably should have burned her. Realize that now. I should have actually, right after that happened, I should have just probably put the match on her to see if she would respond from that.
How did you know to put a match up over her mouth to see if she was?
Because I've seen it on movies.
And you knew to feel for a pulse?
No, I knew to feel for a pulse, but I never did. I just felt over her heart, and I was feeling a heartbeat. So, I thought that was good enough.
Have you ever had any training in, any medical training at all? You know how to give CPR or anything like that?
Yes.
When were you trained to give CPR?
Before I went to the Army, after I was in the Army, and I've been smoking so much pot, I even tried to save this guy's life once. And I messed up in the procedures too, and he died. A friend of mine.
When were you in the Army?
From 80 to 82.
Where were you stationed?
Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland.
And in addition to learning CPR, what else did you learn?
Just law enforcement. I was in the military police.
Oh, you were?
Yep.
And you ever have to arrest anyone or get involved in an arrest?
Yeah. Arrested like 19 people or something like that.
What kind of weapon did you carry?
45.
Anything else?
It was 16 also at times.
Did you ever injure anyone?
No.
Did you ever shoot anyone?
No. I've never killed a person ever. Except
Before this time?
for one time that I had a serious incident in Texas in which I had a total of 6 people. One vehicle was filled with 3. It was like the backup to the first vehicle that was involved in robbery, in which there was 2 women and 1 guy involved in that. And wow, that dude, you know, I went ahead and kicked him as he had me all barricaded into the car. And I went ahead and stomped on his head. Because he said, "You better let me kill you or else I'll hurt you more."
He said that to you?
Yeah.
And who was this guy? This guy, his name was not gone. Did he know him before?
No.
I'm sorry, I was a little confused when you were telling me the story about the robbery or something.
No, in Texas.
Yeah.
No, I've never seen this guy before. I was with these 2 women having a party, and they said they had car troubles. Then all of a sudden I said, wow, that car was sounding good. This must be some type of setup or something, you know? Tried to open up the door, and I couldn't get out of the vehicle.
Who was
The
driving the
handle
car?
was just messed up. One of the girls.
So you were in the car with 2 girls?
Yeah.
And one of them said they were having car trouble and they couldn't get out?
Yeah. I like took turns having sex with them both.
And so after that, they said there was car trouble?
Yeah.
And you didn't believe them?
No. Because it's like in the middle
what did you
of
think they
like
were
a
trying to
really
do?
bad neighborhood. I felt like implied that they would set me up, and whenever I tried to open up the door was being opened up already by a guy coming after me with a screwdriver, in which the 2 girls was holding me back while the guy kept on trying to stab me with a screwdriver, in which a report was made, and I even turned over a stolen vehicle to the police that night.
And what did you do to the guy with the screwdriver?
That guy just kicked him over the chin, and then he fell to the ground, and I just started kicking his head, because I'd gotten all bruised around the neck. He was trying to kill me, and I did kind of lose control of my senses at that point too. You know, because
When you lost control of your senses this time?
well,
With Monica?
I didn't lose, in the way I said, I didn't lose control in the area of actually hitting her in the throat, because I just didn't know. I just thought, oh, this is just one punch, you know. I just wanted to hit her one time so she wouldn't mess with me.
So you were in control, is that right?
I was in control then, yes. It's just an accident.
And, yeah, well, you meant to hit her in the throat. That was an accident, right?
Actually, I meant to hit her in the chin. I missed. And I hit her in the throat, right here. That's what I was actually meaning to hit her, was in the chin.
How long ago was it that this guy in Texas, this Eddie Stoneham, he died?
That was back in October 3rd, 1980. I don't even know if he did, because the other vehicle came along and dragged the guy to the car. He was unconscious also.
You were never arrested or anything?
No.
After that?
No.
Did you ever tell the police about it?
Oh, sure. I went to the police that night. A taxi cab wouldn't give me a drive to the police station. And I said, you're going to give me a drive to the police station. I got in his car. He gave me a ride to the police station. And we looked all over for the car. I couldn't find it. Then finally I found it. I said, that's the car. And we went there, and there was like 5 or so different blood stains in the backseat of that car. Where I wasn't the only one that they tried to victimize. There's other people that apparently had been killed in that car, because they said that car was not reported for robberies before. And I could see the dried blood in the back seat.
But you killed that man by stomping on his head?
I don't even know if I killed him.
Did you later learn that you killed him?
No, I never was told.
You never were told?
No, but the police told me it didn't matter anyway, because he was trying to rob me. And that they would consider that justifiable homicide. And if they were to find the person, that they would label it, justifiable homicide, and come back for, that they would do everything within the court on that. And I wouldn't ever have to even be bothered by that, as long as I made a statement at that point.
Let's get back to Monica, okay? We got kind of off the subject here. You started to say it took you about 10 days to completely dispose of her body.
Yeah, justifiable homicide. I come back for, that they would do everything within the court on that. And I wouldn't ever have to even be bothered by that, as long as I made a statement at that point.
Let's get back to Monika, okay? We got kind of off the subject here. You started to say it took you about 10 days to completely dispose of her body.
Yeah. It was like,
And tell me what you did every day.
mostly I couldn't even go around her because I was so sick of it. I couldn't eat during that time. It was like I was almost throwing up all that time. I was totally just horrified with the whole scene.
And what did you do physically with her body during that time?
Flushed her piece by piece down the toilet, cutting all the pieces into smaller pieces.
And what about her head? Where'd you do that?
I just took all the skin off of that and flushed that down the toilet also. And some of the meat I actually threw out in the trash at the Christadora, which is 9th Street and Avenue B.
And before, you said something about putting in hot water.
Yeah, they had, and all
Why did you do that?
of her to cook her up so I could manage the meat better. So I could slice it up so I could dispose of it better.
Did you do that all in one day or over the course of several days?
Of course, for several days. But even whenever it was all fresh, I was like totally repulsed from doing this. It's like, couldn't believe that this was happening. It's like, I can't believe this is happening. You know, it's like, wow.
But you were in control and you knew what you were doing, didn't you?
Yeah, I knew what I was doing. I knew I didn't want to, get locked up in a mental institution for life or in prison for life for having killed somebody. It was an accident.
And after 10 days, what did you do? And what did you do with the bones?
Then I put her into storage
Where did you put it?
with kitty litter, 43rd Street.
With kitty litter?
Yes.
What, you thought that would be something with smell?
Yeah, and it did. Took away all the smell and dried out the bones really well.
What did you do with the teeth?
They're all was broken out of the skull, and so that I could dispose of it all.
What did you do with the skull?
It was in with the bones.
Was it all intact? Was the skull intact or
Two pieces.
in two pieces?
Yeah, the lower jawbone and then the upper head.
And when did you put her in storage, as you said?
Like after 10 days.
Do you know the date?
No.
And where did you store it?
In my storage facility on 43rd Street.
How long have you had a storage facility there?
Like about 6 or 7 months or so.
And did you put her bones in any kind of container or anything like that?
Yeah, just a compound 5-gallon container. Plastic container with a close-tight lid.
And so what day are we talking about now, approximately?
I don't know, like 10 days later.
After that, did you tell anybody what you had done?
No.
You didn't
The
tell
only
anybody?
people that seen was Ellen and Sylvia.
Did you tell them what had happened?
Yeah.
Did you tell them that you had killed her?
Yeah, well, they seen her. They just seen her. And, like, they both even spit on her.
Did you tell her how you killed her?
No.
You didn't. They just assumed
I said I was, they was saying, that bitch, they're saying, all sorts of things about her. She was no good and all that. They hated her and all
they were
this.
saying that, well,
Before she was dead.
did you ever tell them you were going to kill her?
No.
Did you ever say that to anybody?
No.
Did you ever tell her that?
Monika?
Yeah.
No. Ed and
Is
Sylvia.
that the reason you got her during all that time? You never said anything like that?
No. I just said that if she got me kicked out of there, I was going to get back at her. But I was only planning to get like a bucket of shit to dump on her. That's all I was going to do. Just have my stuff moved to storage, keep my cat at a friend's, and dump a bucket of shit on her.
Now, Monika had a lot of stuff when she moved into your apartment.
A lot of stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
She had a whole apartment full of stuff.
A lot of clothes and things like that.
Clothes, all this stuff.
Did
Which
she have anything valuable at all?
A chinchilla coat.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And anything else?
No.
Any jewelry or anything like that?
not the same.
You get away from that? Did you have any jewelry at all?
Yeah, she had like a ring and like 2 rings that I took because the super was getting ready to take all this stuff. And he had taken her tapes and stuff like that.
When was the super going to take her stuff?
Like about 2 or 3 days before I moved out. He came in to, just rummage through her stuff, rip off her stuff, which he took he took women's lingerie.
Did anybody ask you where Monika was? Or have you seen her? Who asked you that?
Like the super.
Mm-hmm. What did you tell the super?
I said, I don't know where she's at. That's all I told him.
Did he ever ask you again?
Yeah. He was just asking me every time he saw me. I said I hadn't seen her.
So you lied to him every time?
Yeah.
Who else did you lie to about?
I lied to the police initially. Because I'm super scared of it. I got a whole life, ahead of me, and I didn't want to be all washed down the drain just because I was trying to be friendly to somebody. And I was just wanting to share my rent and be able to have a place during the winter time. That's all I was wanting. And I was even telling her before she moved in that I only wanted someone to pay half the rent so I'd have a place during the winter time. And then right away she was saying, oh, I got friends who want this apartment. You don't look like you'll ever be able to pay the rent anyway. And then I surprised her by paying her $270 by the 15th. And then she was saying, oh, okay, you owe me $30 for August now. Whereas I was supposed to be in August, they're free. Mm-hmm. It's like another way of negotiations.
And that was your apartment originally, right?
Yeah, I got this through some friends. And then she was totally telling me that, she didn't want me to live there no more because she has a friend that'll pay $400 a month to her, starting with the month of August.
So here you meet this woman on the street,
Yeah.
she's real nice and everything, and you're getting along okay, and then all of a sudden she turns on you, right?
Getting along okay until the lease was signed. Then as soon as the lease gets signed, she
She's trying to take advantage of you?
came into a total monster. Yeah. She's just saying, you're stupid and all this. And she even told me one time I was stupid for having let her sign the lease. I'm serious. That's just calling me stupid every day. No. I was just totally shocked that somebody could be like that.
Nothing like that's ever happened to you?
No.
You never met a woman that you thought was okay and then,
I've never. I consider myself like an innocent kid in a way in a lot of respects.
You're an innocent kid?
Yeah. Because marijuana, it would totally retarded, I guess, my brain. And somehow totally been like a kid since the age of 13. Serious, that's how I've always felt. And I didn't expect something like that to come down. I just figured if you're nice to somebody, that person has no reason to be nasty to you. I never realized something like that would happen. God, the old expression that, goes, watch out who you bring into your home. And I didn't realize that a, kind of cute blonde would be something so bad to bring into my home. I thought it would be such peace. Mm-hmm. And, and not really a bunch of horror.
When did it finally get too much for you?
When? Oh, it was too much for me. Sunday even, whenever she killed my cat. I was like, wow, she killed my cat.
Did you decide then to get her back?
No, I didn't even decide to get her back. I didn't even, I just said, wow, she killed my cat. And I was thinking about killing her cat, to be honest with you. All that time I was thinking about killing her cat. And then I was thinking, no, I don't want to kill her cat. Because I think I'll just, try to take her cat and give it away to a friend. And I was actually trying to find people to give her a cat to. And nobody wanted her cat. Because I was going to deprive her of her cat like she did of mine. But then I started thinking too, that if I did that, maybe she might do something to my cat, which I still have. And which I didn't want to have nothing happen to the mother cat, which is the mother of the daughter that got killed.
So it just kept getting worse and worse while she was there, is that right?
It was totally an escalation of horror. It was the most horrible experience of my life, this woman. I just didn't know what to expect from her. I mean, she would, say that she was going to, she even told me once that she was going to scratch me in the face like she did her brother and her father, giving them permanent scars. And it's like, wow, that's pretty horrible. I don't want to really mess with this woman. So I was like just trying to keep my distance from her all the time.
No, she's gone now, right?
Now she is, unfortunately. Because I never intended for that to happen.
Where's your coat now? The chinchilla coat?
Oh, the chinchilla coat?
Yeah.
I left it in the apartment.
You left it there?
Underneath the bottoms, there was like 3 or 4 suitcases, and I put it underneath the bottom suitcase. Because
Is that pretty valuable?
Yeah, I guess so. Whenever Sylvia was going through the stuff, I told her, hey, don't take that. Leave that here, so we can give that to the mother or something like that. So we can turn this property over to the police or whatever.
What about her jewelry?
The jewelry? I wouldn't let Sylvia go to that neither. But whenever the super came in there, the jewelry was right there. And he started going towards the jewelry. And I got in front of it and just picked up 2 rings. And then he went through it and picked up some things out of it. I don't know exactly what it.
These 2 rings, these are the rings you took off your fingers after you killed her?
I took like one of the rings off her finger, which I can't remember which one.
Okay, and where is that?
I think I did.
What did you do with that?
Shit, I can't even remember what did that.
Did you put that in storage with the rest of
Yeah.
with the rest of her?
Yeah, I was going to turn over the rings though. I was going to turn over the clothes that I took from Sean and this Lori on St. Mark's Place.
I don't understand, you're going to turn over the clothes that you took from them?
Yeah.
What clothes did you take from them?
All sorts of stuff in which I filled up a suitcase and a bag with.
Whose clothes were they?
Those was Monica's.
Oh, in other words, you had them get rid of the clothes for you?
No, I was walking along St. Mark's Place and I just was looking at them. And I said, wow, this looks like Son. I've seen Son and this Lori. And I was talking to him and all of a sudden I looked down and seen all her stuff and even some of my stuff out there being sold on the street.
And what did you do with it then?
I just said, hey, this is Monica's stuff. And I took it from them and put it in my storage.
Okay. And are they still there now, or?
No, now it's like they got the storage facility.
Who did, the police?
Yes.
Now, how long did you leave the bones in this container in the storage facility?
I don't know.
Well, did you ever move it anywhere else?
Just the Port Authority.
When did you move them to Port Authority?
Saturday.
Why did you do that?
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just did it out of just realizing I didn't, I'm going to have to do something with the bones.
When was that?
I was given advice through a friend that the best thing I could do with the bones, because it said that it works very well, all you got to do is just get like a torch and just torch down the bones and then you can crush them very easily. So that's what I had planned for the bones.
And how come you decided that on Saturday? And what made you decide that on Saturday?
Because I talked to some friends about things.
Did you talk to anybody else on Saturday?
No. I was talking to this dude this is like maybe Thursday or something, that's involved in a particular religion in which they do things like that.
Did you talk to the police on Saturday?
Yeah.
So it was after you talked to the police that you went
Right.
that you decided you better do something with those bones?
Yes.
And you didn't tell the police the truth then, did you?
No, because I was very, very frightened. I didn't, Detective Abernathy was saying to me that if I just said that if it was an accident, even though I dissected the body, that they wouldn't do nothing to me. But I couldn't really believe that because I've been set up even just for marijuana possession in Texas. And I fear the police very much.
So after you spoke to the police, you realized they were getting close to figuring out that you were responsible for Monica's death, is that right?
Yes.
And that's when you decided to try and hide the evidence.
True.
And that's when you took the bones out of storage and took them to the Port Authority?
Right.
And what did you do with them there?
Just put them in a bag.
In what kind of bag was that?
My duffel bag, and then I just had a container inside of that.
Was there anything else in the duffel bag?
Just my clothes.
And was the duffel bag locked?
Yes.
And did you check it at the Port Authority? At the bus terminal?
Yeah, I checked it at the parcel.
And did you get a ticket for it?
Yes.
Do you still have that ticket?
Since lost the ticket. As I smoked a lot of pot that had been messed up of me too, I could have been able to get the bag, I guess. Right?
I don't know.
Probably so.
Well, anyway, did you tell the police that that's where the bag was?
Today.
Yeah. Did you take them over to the Port Authority and show them where it was?
Yes. Yes.
And did you let them open it up?
Yes.
You told them that they could open the bag and that's where they found the bones?
Yes.
And was the bag locked?
Yes.
Did you give the police the key to open that bag?
Right.
Then no one forced you to do that, did they?
No, I was just told that if I cooperated and showed them where the body was, that I wouldn't get in much trouble. So
you wanted to cooperate, you cooperated voluntarily then?
Yes. And plus I want to get rid of some of my friends too that are involved in things like that too, because it's involved me over the years.
You want to get rid of some of your friends?
I want to get some of them locked up in jail, if at all possible, for murders that they've committed out there against other people. And I can't, I don't want them to continue doing things. This is just an accident on my part.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the things that they do, such as killing little infants, like there's women involved in the church that they'll have actual infants, and they'll kill their little baby then. Wow.
Is that here in New York?
Yeah, if I had my way, I'll be honest with you, I'd like to kill those people. Because those are nasty people. I mean, how can they go around killing their own little babies? That's really horrible.
Yeah.
It's like this one guy I know that's into Satanism. His wife had a baby, and I was like thinking, oh man, they're gonna kill that baby too, but the baby's still alive, and it's like over a year old now.
But you're not into Satanism, huh?
No, but I know many people are, and they consider me like the people that I know to be like the leader of the satanic church, because my image turns into a dog supernaturally within a piece of paper that signifies 966 that even my baby filmed last year.
But you don't consider yourself involved in the satanic cult?
I'm not involved in none of the things that they do, no. But I've always wanted to be involved in the aspect of, I even tried to go to the FBI last year. It's very serious. I tried to go there so I could get a job with them, so I could get some of these people arrested. I figured if they'd give me like notoriety, I could gather whole satanic cults and just maybe like have their investigators with me. And at that point, we'd prepare for the sacrifices or whatever, because I'd be seen as a leader, and then get ready to make these sacrifices in front of me. And then just before they'd make the sacrifice, then all of a sudden, there'd be a whole bunch of police come in and bust everybody for attempted murder and free the person.
You ever been present at one of these sacrifices?
No, but I've had opportunities today.
But you've never been involved in it?
I never did want to be around them because I was really kind of even frightened of these people. Something I just don't want to be around because I don't want to see nobody die. I mean, I'm really a good person. That's now a victim of circumstance.
Thanks to your friends, though, it's the same cult you was due in the next body, right?
Yeah, they all told me.
Yeah.
Because they've been telling me over the years what they've been doing even. I've been told this stuff since 1979, starting in Texas. And which in Texas, I was like totally horrified one time. It was just like all these people claiming to be that. And they even said that if there was a wasp nest in the corner of the place, they said if a wasp lands on your head and stings you, you're going to turn against one or more of the people of this cult. Wow. And the wasp actually landed on my head and stung me on the nose. And then I was trying to fake like, wow, this wasp didn't sting me.
Trying to fake it?
I was trying to fake that the wasp didn't sting me
How come?
because I was scared that they was going to kill me. And then this guy, he seen that the wasp had stung me, which this big dude that had brought me there to introduce me to this cult. And whoa, of all things, I was able to depart with everybody saying they wanted to kill me. And they said, well, they finally said, well, being you're a friend of Victor, we'll go ahead and let you go. And they went ahead and let me go. And at that point, I was very glad whenever I was leaving that location, because they didn't even tell me how they used human flesh